Alright, so this tree is really not doing that good. Um, it's got flowers on it. This is a cecropia tree. And I'm like super proud of the way it's been growing, but it is really struggling now. Um, and I can't keep up with the watering on this thing. It is just insane how much water these things take to stay happy. So I had a bunch of tropical plants up in here. As you can see, I've been hard at work, just digging everything up. This is gonna get dug up and put in a pot as well. The only thing I'm gonna leave is this papaya plant right here, and I might just go ahead and leave the lemongrass for now. But all the trees, all the fruit trees, I just dug them up because I'm out here flooding this thing 2 or 3 times a day, and it's still not enough water for them. I've noticed that there's the neighbor right there. They have a native uh, Fremont cottonwood tree right there, and the roots of that tree are kind of invading this area. So you can kind of see where I had some of my trees planted, and these are all roots from the Fremont cottonwood tree over there, and it's basically just choking out all of my trees that I had planted here. The roots are pretty much just taking over. It's sending up little suckers. Look at that. Look at that. That's lamb's quarters, but this is a Fremont cottonwood sucker that's just growing from a root sucker from that fucking tree right there. And there was a bunch more, but I've been digging them up, removing them because. And they're popping up everywhere though. They're even growing. They're even growing out here. Like here's one right here, just growing in the lawn. There's some more right here. Here's another one, and another little sucker right there. So, uh, I thought they were just weeds at first, but those are those are suckers from that. I think they call it it's Fremontii Populnea or something maybe. I might be wrong, but I might be wrong on the scientific name, but that's a native cottonwood tree. And they grow in riparian areas, and no one waters that tree, but it's basically stealing water from my. It has its own little personal irrigation canal right here, because I just throw the garden hose in here and I just flood this whole area. I mean, you can. I don't know if you can see on video, but this is a pretty huge area. This is probably 30 feet long, and that whole area just gets flooded every fucking day, 2 3 times a day in the summer, and I cannot keep up with it anymore. So what I'm gonna end up doing, well, I've already dug up all my other shit. I had a black sapote, and I had some other stuff mixed in there, but I had a black sapote, I had a ice cream bean, and I had some really cool trees in here, but they are just struggling. Look at that, Cecropia is just looking all chlorotic. It's not getting enough water. I've been fertilizing the fuck out of it and watering the fuck out of it, and it's always thirsty. So I think what I'm gonna end up doing right now, which sucks that I have to do this, but I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna cut this thing down, and I'm gonna dig it up. And hopefully it doesn't kill it, but I'm gonna dig it up, and I'm gonna plant it in a big pot, and then just see what it does. Because uh, you know, I hate seeing it struggle like this, and I can't keep up with it. I'm also just kind of struggling with it. So we're gonna say goodbye to this tree for right now. Hopefully it doesn't die. I'm gonna cut it probably, I don't know, maybe right here. That gives it, 3.5 feet, maybe, more or less. And yeah, I'm just gonna plant that stump in a pot and maybe just try to keep it in there. I don't know if I don't know if you can root big ass cuttings like this, but maybe I'll try to root some of this. After I cut it, I might try to root some of the big branches. I've never heard of it, but never heard of anyone doing that, but we'll see. Anyway, I figured this was worth documenting because this area right here is gonna probably, I'll probably end up just doing native plants over here, just like I did over here. I ended up putting a bunch of native plants over here, and I'm happier than a pig in shit right now. I just planted a little Certocarpa. There's a little Pachycormus. There's a Bursera microphylla. I know this is all really close together, and eventually they might start competing with each other for light or whatever, but it doesn't really matter. I can always dig them up and move them if I have to. And the morning glory tree, Ipomea arborescens. Planted a desert ironwood, Olnea tesota. There's a little tiny screw bean mesquite right there. There's another little screw bean right there. There's a honey mesquite right there, and all the way down this side of the fence. This is the south-facing fence line, and I just put a bunch of native plants in here. And all this area right here is all native stuff. Bursera phageroides, another Bursera phageroides right there. There's some Stenocereus right there. There's a Jatropha vernicosa. There's some native euphorbias, formerly Petalanthus. I think it's Bracteatus and Lomelii. And then I have Euphorbia antisyphilitica over there. I've got ocotillos. There's a boujum over there. This whole area is I just loaded it with native plants. There's another little Pachycormus right here. There's a Calliandra californica, another little boujum. I just popped these in the other day. This is a Senna purpussii, the native to Baja. That one's really cool. There's a Bisnaga, Echinocactus platycanthus, another Bursera microphylla. Just some really cool shit. Look at this thing. It's just new leaves. It's starting to glow up with leaves. Look at that. It's a desert willow. It's got a little bit of transplant shock, but it'll be all right, I think. A little Euphorbia misera, and Ficus petiolaris. That's a Baja native as well. Bunch of cool stuff in here. It's a native Ceiba, native to the Sonoran Desert. And of course a Plumeria. So I'm really excited about this new area here with all native plants. And I'm gonna add more native plants. I'm gonna add more shit in here. And this area here, I'll probably, once I dig all these tropical plants out and pot them up, keep them in pots for now, I'm gonna plant native plants. I have some new stuff coming in. I think I have a Texas ebony coming in. I have some different, cat claw acacias from, they're kind of native to Texas, and other plants from, that are just North American natives, things that are built for the desert, really. Yeah, I'm just kind of tired of dealing with, plants that don't want to grow here, and struggling to keep them alive. I mean, that one's looking really good, but I think it could probably also do well in a pot. And what I could do is when I dig that thing up, I could take a bunch of cuttings and propagate new trees from it. And yeah, I don't think it'll be a total loss. I'm gonna have to trim some of that shit off anyway because it's gonna probably go into shock once I dig it up. So it's all good. Had to dig up this big um, chaya plant, the Nidasculus. I'll end up cutting that thing up and making a bunch of cuttings out of that one too. It's pretty big. Look at that. So before it gets too dark, I'm gonna try to finish doing this. Anyway, that's it for now.